If you asked me to name one thing that made the biggest change to my photography, I would probably have to say the 28mm lens. Not this one in particular. It's also this one. And this one. Oh, and how could I forget this one? But why 28? I've experimented with almost every focal length throughout my years of doing street photography. It took me a really long time to figure out what worked best for me. .85 and longer made me feel a little creepy and stalker-like. .50 wasn't quite wide enough. .35 always felt a little flat, even boring at times. And 21 was a bit too wide and distorted for my taste. I even tried shooting at 15mm. That was kinda weird. .28 just seemed to feel right. It had a bit more character compared to the 35, and didn't look as unrealistic as the 21. So, is 28 the perfect focal length for street photography? The 28mm lens shines in a small city like Hong Kong. If you've ever been there, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Narrow streets, tight alleyways, and insanely packed crowds. The 28 will give you many options to choose from when working in these tight spaces. You can get up close and put the focus on a single character. Take a small step back, and you'll be able to start including more pieces into your compositions. Move further back, and you'll be putting the focus more on the environment instead of the people. This is a very versatile focal length for street photography. The more I shot with it, the more I fell in love. After convincing myself that this was the focal length for me, I started building on my 28mm lens collection. Every lens in this collection offered something a little different. the oldest one of them all, the Nikkor 28mm f2.8. A perfect partner for my FM3A film camera. It's sharp, super clean, and still operates very smoothly after all these years. The Zeiss 28mm Biogon. A lens with character, and a bit of that Zeiss 3D pop. It works great for both film and digital. But it's uncoated, so I get a ton of nasty purple vignetting when I use it without in-camera profiles. Last but not least, the Leica 28mm Elmerit. A clinical, near perfect beauty of a lens. It does everything I need it to do, and just feels nice paired with my Leica bodies. I would have kept this collection going, as there were plenty of other 28s that I wanted to experiment with. But then, I moved to Toronto. This move started to make me question the effectiveness of my 28mm lenses. The streets here are 3 times as wide, and people are so far apart. I used to be able to get close to my subjects within seconds. Now I'd be lucky to catch my breath after pursuit. Shooting this wide in such a large space also made it incredibly difficult for me to find the correct spacing and depth for my compositions. It also might just be me, but people here seem to be much more sensitive towards street photographers. So being discreet also got a lot harder. I'm all about working with limitations. I agree 100% that it helps improve your creativity. I've forced myself to push past these barriers, but sometimes they're just too hard to overcome. So I kept asking myself, is the 28mm lens really suitable for this new environment that I'm in? Should I keep pushing, or is this the end of our relationship? I honestly can't imagine parting ways with the 28. This is the focal length that reinvented my photography. It gave me a distinct look, a style if you will. It changed the way that I moved on the streets and how I visualized my compositions. But maybe it is time that I start thinking about making a change. There's this one photo that I took in Hong Kong that kept popping up in my mind recently. I remember spending a day shooting with a 50mm lens, just as an experiment. I hated every single photo I took that day, except for this one. For some reason, I was able to make it look somewhat similar to the rest of my work, and I was able to do it from a distance. A distance that is very similar to what I have to work with these days. And this photo gave me an idea, one that I'm still not too sure about. But my gut tells me it's something that I should try exploring. And sometimes that's all it is with photography. Following your gut feelings and challenging yourself to find new ways to be creative. I moved to this country to start a new life. But what I've realized is that I've been looking at everything with an old lens. So maybe it is time to let it all go and move forward. Who knows what I'll be able to discover.